Sex is something I really enjoy doing, and I feel like it's a space where I've grown a lot as a person. Just in my journey with it, the way I look at it, the way I see myself in relationship to it, the way I see my partners. It's been a journey for me. So when I say that sex is a space of personal development, sex is what you make it. So if you choose to be unconscious and turned off, disconnected, serving your partner ahead of yourself, that's your experience. It's whatever you want it to be. And for me, I choose to turn on and plug in and be present and do things that allow me to get out of my head and just feel the sensations and ride the waves. And sometimes I'll imagine things, but usually they're little enhancements to the moment, like little things that I know that my partner may not be into that I'm into, and it's just like, oh, sorry, this is just like a little bit like, oh, just needed that little extra. And it's something that can be private and fun, or I can share it with them if I so choose. But I feel like I can share how have I grown as a person through my sexual experiences. How have I changed and developed into someone who's very comfortable with sex and sexuality in these conversations? And so I'm Latia, and I have had a variety of encounters and different phases within my relationship with sex, relationships, dating, marriage, all sorts of things. So I was raised Christian. I'm like kind of Christian, but religion doesn't matter. So I was raised in a Christian household, and as a kid, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna save myself for marriage. I'm gonna wait until I am married, and then I'll have sex. And one of my grandmas was 19 when she got married, and then she had kids. And my other grandma was younger when she had kids, started having children, and she wasn't married. So I have an interesting family line where one of my grandmas is like, you can wait, you can do it. And it's like, but you were 19. That's a very young age to get married and start having children. It's different. I'm 28 and I'm not married. So it's like, if I were waiting until I was married, if that were the goal, then maybe my life would have been different, because I would have been like, I'm gonna get married and you're gonna partner with me and we're gonna make babies, let's do this. But that isn't the path that I wanted, because as my mom was talking about dating, I realized dating is for me, I like the old school way of dating, where you have it's like 3 phases, where there's a getting to know you phase, then there's courting, where I think you're 1-to-1, and then there's your betrothed, and you're gonna get engaged, and then you're gonna get married. And there were phases to how relationships will move forward, and it was very kind of clear cut. You would know, you're going to balls and meeting people. You go on 1-to-1 outings, maybe. There's probably parental guidance, because the flower had to be protected. And then when you were engaged, then you would move forward in different steps. So it was a vetting process so you could find a decent partner, and then you would go into marriage. So I knew I didn't want to be a housewife. I knew I didn't really want to be a trophy wife, and I wanted to be a strong, independent woman. So for me, it was like, oh, there's no point in dating and having a boyfriend, because that's not my purpose and intention. Although growing up, before I had sex, I was like, if I'm gonna maintain this virginity thing, if I have a boyfriend, he wants to sleep with other women, cool. You do you, bro. I'm not giving it to you. So you are free to go elsewhere. Granted, never had a boyfriend, or I kind of did in high school, but that was just a mistake and a strange experience. He was very cute though, and he liked me because I was tall and pretty, and yeah. So where that takes my path is that I thought I was gonna be a virgin till marriage. That didn't happen. Then I knew I didn't really want to have sex with just anyone, so then I ended up doing oral to guys, and my mom and I would have conversations about it, so she knew and was aware. And that was a phase of my journey and experience. And to me, it was a learning opportunity, because if I can learn how to please my partner and be present and understand what he wants, why not? Like, it's very straightforward. It's not that difficult. And I know people are like, especially like Lambert, where he's like, you have sex, then you go in the butt, and then you go in your head. Like, it's like pussy, butt, head. Like, he has like his order to it. And I'm just like, nah, I gave loads of head, and then I started having sex, and then I had loads of sex. But I think within 1 or 2 years of starting to have sex, I had vaginal orgasm. So I was able to have sex with a guy, and he gave me an orgasm from penetration. And there was no extra touching. It was just penetration. And that was great. Other guys have done it since. And so I'm in that lucky group of women who can get off by penetration. But I never sought or expected that. That actually came from like a very awkward start. So what I learned from that was that even though it may get off to a rough start, if you can have really clear communication with your partners, you never know where it may end. But I did not expect this person and I to like have that kind of an encounter. I knew that there was potential there because I could feel it, but it was just like, oh yeah, it feels good. Like, it's awkward, but that happens. So it was like, I learned that through my encounters. I also learned that if I want something, it's really easy to ask. So if we're in a position and it's just like, all right, I know I like to start in missionary, but what if we stand up? What if we flip over? What if we do this? Like, you know, because usually the answer is yes, and they'll just do it. And so it'll be like, what if we stand up? And then we're standing up and doing it. And then it's like, well, what if I do this? Or I'll just do my adjustments. And then it becomes like a conversation and a communication and a partnership. So it's like, I've had different experiences where I'm with the person and we're just kind of collaborating about what are we going to do next. I also like to be awkward because it's fun. So sometimes I'll pause in the middle and just be like, wow, you're inside me right now. Isn't that crazy? All right, as you were. Like, let's get back to it. But I like to have fun and like express myself, connect with my partner, be present in the moment. And sometimes for me, especially if I trust the person, that might involve a little bit of like choking. Mostly because like as I am forced to focus on like very intentionally breathing, it takes me out of my head and my thoughts. So instead of me thinking about anything, it's just because like when your airways are constricted, it's very tough to think about much else. And that's not to say that it's for everyone. It's what are you comfortable with, and what are you willing to explore, and what are you and your partner willing to do? Because like some of my partners are like, nah, I ain't about that. And some are like, oh yeah, we can play with this idea. But it's as though it's like you're learning yourself and another person, because each person brings their own experiences. So I know I had like a phase where, and it may just be how I interact with it, where the first time we get together, I'm like scoping the scene. Like, how do you operate? What do you do? How do you warm me up? How do you interact in the moment? And I'll usually just see what my partner does and kind of like roll with it from there. And then if we do it again, then it's like, okay, what if we try this or that? And then I'll kind of communicate more. Other times, the very first time we do it, I'm like, okay, let's try this, let's try that. But it just depends on the person, the moment, how I'm feeling, and what am I wanting. Usually I don't have that many intentions when I have sex. It's just having fun. Because like every moment of it can be very fun and feel good. And even if it doesn't end in orgasm, because it doesn't always, it's just about being present and really enjoying another person and their company and what we're creating together. So for me, I have learned so many things from having sex, just how to communicate more effectively, how to be a team player in a weird way, and really being present in the moment and in my body and knowing, yes, I like this, and I think we need to adjust, and being to ask for what I want and need. Because as I express myself and what I need, it adds to the moment and the joy and the fun. So what have you learned from sex? Have you learned anything? Are you present in the moment when you're connecting with your partner, man or woman? And how would you change what you're doing? Would you try something new, or ask more questions, or just create a safe space where it doesn't have to be about tearing anyone down? How can we explore something new and different? And I feel like sex can be such a great experience if we're allowed to play and have fun with our partners. So please comment, let me know what you think. Share this with anyone that you feel may benefit, and subscribe if you're curious to see more. I'm Lydia, and I'll see you next time.